and your career. So enjoy, and please ask questions in the Q&A box so that everybody can see those questions and ensure that we answer them throughout the webinar. Okay, so to kick start today's session, it's a great pleasure that I introduce to you our two special guests from the National Office. I'll be going through a lot of the content, but what you're really interested in is hearing from our experts. So to introduce those experts for today, may I introduce Inderjeet Verdi. Inderjeet Verdi is the Secretary and Director of the ASCI Board. He's a highly effective business transformation leader with well-developed procurement and contract management, portfolio program management and asset management experience, with system integration competencies gained from working in highly regulated and complex environments within public and private sectors. He has over 20 years of experience in New South Wales government, procurement and supply chains, and has actively contributed to development and implementation of government procurement frameworks and reforms, including electronic procurement systems and procurement accreditation schemes for goods and services. He's an excellent team player, based on the ability to establish long and sustainable relationships at all levels, enhancing collaboration between business functions to build and sustain a high-performing culture. An outcome-focused individual with strong commercial acumen, strategic planning and project and change management implementation skills. He has excellent analytical problem-solving skills coupled with the ability to analyse complex and imperfect information and formulate creative and practical solutions. Inderjeet is highly value conscious and delivers productive and effective client services. He has the ability to communicate with people from diverse social and cultural backgrounds, engineering a broad and inclusive leadership approach to foster a culture of value creation and innovation to achieve business objectives. Inderjeet is a qualified management systems internal lead auditor and a registered practitioner in procurement, hence his inclusion in today's webinar. Welcome, Inderjeet. You might need to unmute yourself to say hello to today's audience, please.
Yes, thank you, Monique, for this very kind introductions. Look forward to this event.
Great.
Yep.
Fantastic. Thank you. And Gary Pearce. Gary is an accomplished and qualified integrated logistics support manager with over 48 years experience working in various defence and defence industry employment. With a master's in both logistics management and project management, and recently receiving the registered practitioner in ILS, Gary has demonstrated experience across ILS, project management, supply chain, logistics engineering, procurement logistics, materials management, asset management, maintenance, technical support, documentation data, test trials, and training development and conduct disciplines. Gary currently is employed by Kinetic Australia as a senior principal consultant living in Canberra, providing ILS logistics professional services to a client base primarily defence. Gary has acquired over 20 years of experience within major capital equipment acquisition, in particular, developing and managing acquisition and in-service support requirements in the land communications, command and support systems, and maritime environments, mainly for defence, to provide logistics support for a weapons system through its life cycle within the ADF, industry and capability acquisition sustainment group, CASG, formerly DMO. His experience and knowledge enables him in planning, directing, controlling, coordinating, and monitoring all ILS programs and elements. If you could unmute yourself, Gary, and say hello. Welcome to today's webinar, Gary.
Hello, thanks, Monique, for that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thank you so much for both of you for joining us. And today is all about careers. Just a quick overview of what we will cover off today. First of all, we'll have a look at the and already quite familiar with this. Just raise your hand if you can hear me. I know my internet is quite unstable. Raising hand, thank you. I'm sorry for that. I have some bandwidth issues today. We all go through that, don't we? And then we'll talk about the professional accreditation scheme, pathway and timeline, the benefits of the scheme, most importantly, and eligibility and steps to apply to the scheme. So kicking off, let's look at the supply chain management career and what that career profile looks like. First of all, growth. It's looking to have a 2.1% growth until 2022, but with a lot of the government's investment into manufacturing locally, we can see that this will have an effect on its segment growth. The pay and the hours are probably something that you will be able to resonate with, or in other words, there's many hours worked outside of the usual hours around time zone, international time zone purposes. Very highly skilled. Our premier channel partner for the Association of Supply Chain Management, CEO Abe Eshkenazi, puts it quite aptly when he says that we are masters of orchestration, and our cross-functional peers now hold a deeper respect for the complex environment within which we operate. He says roles and responsibilities are now beyond expertise. We need professionals who can collaborate, are cross-functional, adaptable, and responsible. So we thought that that was quite a very fitting quotation to add to this slide here. With over 25,000 supply chain managers in white-collar roles and very senior responsibility from our State of Supply Chain Management report from this year, there were a myriad of roles and responsibilities that the supply chain manager must oversee from the end-to-end supply chain. And this is where this role is really unique. Quite an old age bracket for the average being 45, which tells us that it's quite a mature career and one with a lot of experience. Again, another reason for this, this drive to a profession. And 19% female, though a third of ASCI members are female. And at ASCI, we partner with NAWO and WISTA, which are two very experienced associations in working specifically on gender diversity. And we work with them on projects such as International Women's Day and our Diversity and Inclusion Award. And it's a very large industry representation. The supply chain manager role can exist in any industry, be it for material flow or information flow. And there is a lot of opportunity for horizontal career moves into different organisations. Just last week, you may have been listening to the Roy Hill webinar, at which the Roy Hill experts were saying they were hiring FMCG supply chain experts simply for their S&OP expertise and bringing that into their mining industries. So there is great potential to move across different industries in your careers. And there's a lot of ethical responsibility because of some of the regulations and also some of the the competition laws, and in particular, we're talking about a lot of environmental issues in our supply chains and impacts. So there are impacts socially, environmentally, and economically that must be considered in the end-to-end supply chain. And so we ask ourselves, why are we not an official profession? So these specific definitions come from the body that looks after all the professions, such as engineers, lawyers, accountants, etc. And the definitions have been something that ASCI has been focusing on quite a lot over the past 5 years. And what are the benefits to us? Well, on an industry level, professional registration will raise the integrity of supply chain management, bringing the very best talent to our profession. On an organisational level, professional registration will reduce risk and raise the profile of supply chain among the senior executive and board members of our organisations. And on an individual level, professional registration offers a supply chain executive with professional indemnity insurance, professional development, an ethics management process, and the reputation that comes with practicing as a professional within the community. At this point, I'd like to invite Inderjeet to give us, your opinion, Inderjeet, on what you think the supply chain profession will give both yourself and the industry and the community that we're in.
Look, thanks, Monique. I think it's a great sort of segue into our subsequent topics that we're going to discuss and unravel. In terms of the supply chain professional, in context of that, is someone who is a member of a professional community in that sense. So it affects individuals at different levels. One, what happens within that individual, how the behaviors of that individual change. There is a level of integrity that you start demonstrating. There is a commitment to the ethical conduct that comes along with that. And among your community peers, then there is a recognition and respect that comes along with that. But then going beyond that immediate community, and you would see that across the industry, a professional recognition brings in a level of assurance to the organizations that if they are hiring a professional accredited individual, then you would be assured of a body of knowledge the person has acquired over a period of time through his qualification, industry experience, and capability development, and so on. And you can be assured that this person who is recognized as a professional, accredited as a professional, is going to manage the risk and is more aware of the compliance requirement and also deliver the business outcome. So you would see that there is a multiple benefits of being a part of the professional community and then be recognized for that. As you mentioned in your previous slide, that in supply chain, there is no single recognition at this point in time. And that's where the ASCI comes in with its strategy of developing and implementing, accreditation program, which we will learn more about later in this program. And it's all about advancing your supply chain profession and career. So I think let's hear on from onward. So,
Right.
Monique.
Fantastic. Yeah, look, ASCI positioned as the profession body, I think it's important to look at our heritage and see that over the past, since 1964, in fact, we have been developing chapters in every state in Australia. We've been delivering global certifications. to Australian supply chain managers. In fact, we've trained over 130,000 supply chain managers globally in the CPIM designation. So, and there are over 600 APICS designees in Australia. So that's really important to note. And also that we have been running our Excellence Awards ever since the SMART conference began in 1992. And just to note some of the Excellence Awards recipients, such as Nola Bransgrove from Brandstrans and Air, Vice Marshal Margaret Stabe, Lindsay Fox, Roger Corbett, just to name a few. And most recently, Linda Venables, who's the former Chief Logistics Officer at Metcash, and also a registered practitioner in logistics with ASCI. So in terms of the mergers that we've also experienced at ASCI, we've really built ourselves as the only end-to-end supply chain management body in Australia, right from the Logistics Association of Australia, which merged with us in 2015, the Alliance for Supply Chain Innovation in 2015, the Lean Network Australia in 2016, and the Australian Chamber of International Trade in 2017, to really give us that status as the only end-to-end supply chain body representing you. The ethics management program is fully established at ASCI, and this is a really important component of our professional accreditation scheme, which is unique to no other. I mean, I just have to ask you, think about your own biggest supply chain ethical issues that you're facing right now. Is it COVID-19? Is it misconduct in the supply chain? Is it the black market? Is it bribery? Is it modern slavery, discrimination, child labour, food fraud? There are so many things happening in our supply chain. So to have a fully established ethics management program is extremely valuable to our members and registrants. And of course, underpinning the whole registration is a continued professional development program. We're really proud to say that we've been running this now for a number of years and been able to achieve some fantastic points for our members in terms of their continued professional development. And when we say points for webinars just like today, it's one CPD point awarded to you for the learning that you're putting into today. So that's a fantastic value that we can offer, but it's also extremely important to have that as a maintenance program for registrants. So the advocacy that we've been doing towards COVID-19 has also been a reason why, as the profession's body representing the supply chain profession, is so important. We've been working towards enhancing the profile and status of supply chain management in general, but during COVID, we've really been given the opportunity to meet with government, federal government, and also liaise with New South Wales government on issues relating to COVID-19. And so it's really opened a lot of channels for us to communicate the complexity of supply chain management and the fact that risk is in our daily remits, that we have to look at mitigating it on a daily basis. And then there's some other projects going on, such as with Standards Australia, being invited to a technical committee in the development of standards for the supply chains. So that's extremely important as the representation of the supply chain profession. So looking at ASCI's vision for the profession, again, it was in 2017 at the annual general meeting when the board agreed to pursue this, this vision to advance supply chain as a recognised profession within Australia. And it was also reiterated in April 2020 as our commitment to promote and contribute to professionalising supply chain management. And certainly the ASCI Professional Accreditation Framework has been designed to meet the requirements of the Professional Standards Authority. So we're heading in the right direction for that. And here are some of the components to that: the Professional Accreditation Scheme, continued professional development as mentioned on the previous slide, the advocacy, and growing the community through our regional chapters. So just briefly to talk to you about the Ethics Committee, what their work is involved in the Code of Ethics. It's a complaints and disciplinary procedure. It's a complaints appeals process in line with Australian legislation, and it's an ethics awareness program as well. Looking at the Risk Committee, their role is to look at industry risk management guidelines, industry risk profiling, risk mitigation strategies, which will include supply chain risk workshops as part of the CPD program, chain of responsibility, Australian Trusted Trader Initiative, and indemnity insurance scheme. And looking at the Technical Committee, their role is to apply a globally aligned knowledge base and glossary, which includes terms and conditions and includes the involvement of tertiary course endorsement scheme, of which we are affiliated. So at this point, we're really proud to announce the Registered Associate, which is a brand new level in the Professional Accreditation Scheme. We've had the Registered Practitioner available for some time now, hence why we have Gary and Inderjeet with us today, and a number of others who have already been registered at this level. But you can enter at any level, so you don't have to start at Associate and work your way up. And that is why we're really excited to have launched our self-assessment tool, allowing you to work out exactly where you sit in the scheme. At this point, I'd like to open up to Gary, who can talk to us about the reason why it's important to have an ILS stream, because I know you all be very familiar with procurement, operations and logistics as standard streams within the ASCI programs. But yeah, Gary, if you could share your thoughts on ILS and your definition of ILS and the differences between it and supply chain management, if you will.
Thank you, Monique. Yes, I believe that first of all that the Registered ILS Practitioner is a professional qualification that aims to provide the definitive standard for measuring capability and professionalism within the integrated logistics support profession worldwide. Now, an ILS practitioner or ILS integrated logistics support is probably to some is a whole of life, through life support element. It has elements within it like supply chain, logistics, that particular thing, but it covers a lot more. So someone sometimes it's a bit technical when you talk about reliability and lifecycle costing and that's as part of it, but part of the design. So most of the time you want to influence design in ILS, make sure you've got the right equipment as early as possible. And in relation to registration, the status attests to your professional recognition by your peers and employers of your significant experience and knowledge, and importantly, your currency to plan, implement, manage and improve ILS initiatives. Now, within my field as a professional service provider in ILS, especially in defence, we have activity levels, 5 levels, and I'll just read them out here. Level 1 is practitioner, level 2 is qualified practitioner, level 3 is experienced practitioner, level 4 is discipline specialist, and level 5 is preeminent consultant. And you measure your qualifications, your professional body recognition or certification, experience and responsibility. So if you can obtain the registration, you work up from level 1 all the way up to level 5. For example, I'll pick the middle. A level 3 is a qualified practitioner with a higher degree qualification or relevant continual training to maintain professional competencies or knowledge. It is eligible or attained an industry professional body certification, a minimum of 10 years broad work experience in category, and held prominent positions in the profession or sustained major responsibilities in the execution of important work. So as a ILS, especially in my area, that's what you're trying to attain. So in a sense, you want to move from a level 1 all the way up to level 5, and that's through experience, qualifications and certification. I'll leave it at there.
Thanks very much, Gary. That's great. There's 2 questions here, or I can see that they've have a list of questions. So yes, definitely ask questions in the Q&A box, and we can answer those for you. So let us know as we go. I should point out at this stage that this is a soft launch to ASCI members predominantly. So what it means is if you're an ASCI member, your benefits do not change. You can stay exactly as an ASCI member if you prefer. However, what registration offers you is recognition of what you've achieved in your career to date. So there's the distinction, and you can still be a member and enjoy all the benefits of membership. And if you're a corporate member, what this means for your team is that you can still have the convenience of a flexible and scalable corporate package, but what it does is give you some career pathways for your people, allowing for them to be recognised and rewarded for the achievements that they've had in their career. So so there's the distinction, and also the reason to go for this if you actually have some of the evidence that you can submit for your application. So just in terms of costing, at the moment we've got a special going whereby you can be a registered associate or a registered practitioner for the ASCI member price. So just continuing on, you can upgrade for free, or if you're due for renewal, then you'll renew at your existing $275 per annum fee, and that will allow for you to apply for either of those. And the registered professional is not costed yet and will be available in 2025. So there's some time to go for that one just yet. All right, moving on to the timeline. I've mentioned the fees, and oh yes, that special offer for members is available until February. We chose February in particular because our conference, ASCI 2021, is in February, and we'd like to give members the opportunity to get a whole lot more information at that conference, and hopefully register with us well before then, but that is the deadline for that special, after which time that price will go up to $375 per annum. And that will be your regular membership fee. All right, let's have a look at the benefits. And as I mentioned to you, if you're an ASCI member, nothing will change with your membership benefits. You'll still have complete access to your events, your webinars, your breakfasts, the leadership series, and so on. And the discounts that you've always enjoyed for certification and study and membership with ASCM or ISM. The same applies to associate and practitioner registrants. However, when it comes to ASCI events, they will receive a higher percentage of discount. So you can see halfway down there, it goes from 10%, 15%, 20%. So that's where the benefit exists. And I'm thinking in particular about the ASCI conference. So you can imagine with a 20% discount, you'd get quite a saving off of that 3-day conference pass when it comes to the membership benefits. And at this point, I'd like to open up to Inderjeet to talk through the registration benefits and what he's seen to date with his registration as a registered practitioner in procurement, to talk about the importance of things such as nominals or being involved in the public register and having your name listed there. And also the ethics management program, which is really important. So Inderjeet, can you share your thoughts on the registration benefits, please?
Yeah, certainly, Monique. Thank you for that question. Yes, as I mentioned earlier on, that the being recognized as a professional is provides a not only the personal personal recognition, but also acknowledgement by your community of peers as well. And also widely, when we talk about the broader industry, it also provides the industry participants as an assurance when they look at you and say, look, hey, your qualification and experience has gone through a set of standards which ASCI is implementing through this scheme, and they get more confident in talking with you about any employment opportunity or any consulting opportunity, and so on. So as they say that if you're stuck with some complex problem, give it to experts. So being recognized as a professional and accredited a professional, you are taking that space. In terms of specific benefits which are visible across, how do people know that yes, you are accredited? You are allowed to have the postnomials after your name in the appropriate scheme of the registration. So, like for example, in my case, it's a registered practitioner procurement, and again, over my extensive experience over 20 years in this procurement and supply chain world, and also the public register is it also provides a mechanism for identifying those individuals who have met these standards, and we would like to see more and more people coming and getting themselves accredited and getting recognized for their qualifications and experience in that. And being an accredited professional, while you have, as Monique mentioned, that there are certain ASCI events in which you can participate in, but the recognition is at an industry level. It goes beyond ASCI specific events, and ASCI is partnering with a range of other organizations and bodies who offer professional development programs in the body of knowledge that you're interested in. In addition, the ASCI is also planning to develop specialized professional development events, which you will see in the future. And you will be able to get the cutting edge content in your respective fields, and that becomes a great benefit for accredited practitioners. In addition to that, the opportunity for advocacy and ambassadorship also becomes quite natural, because you are accredited and you are recognized as a professional in that stream, and therefore you have the ability to go out and then talk about your profession and about your industry and about your organization that you're currently with a level of confidence and assurance that comes along when you are interacting with various stakeholders as an industry expert. These are some of the benefits that will come if you take the next step and become part of the professional accredited individuals and practitioners. In addition, I think ASCI has already, as Monique mentioned, that there is a participation in webinars, and which you can run on your own in specific streams, and then educate your peers as well and share your knowledge and so on and so forth. So there are many benefits that come along with that. And at one stage, I think earlier on, Monique also mentioned the access to the ethics management program, which underpins this whole accreditation scheme, along with the other areas like risk committees and the technical committees. As a registered practitioner, you have access to ethics management program. What it does is that if you have an ethical dilemma, you have someone to go to, which may be different than your current employer or current organization that you're dealing with. So there is someone who can give their opinion on that particular issue, or point you to the various resources to how to address that, how to resolve that particular situation. And I think that is going and becoming more and more meaningful as the supply chain is facing a lot of new risks and threats, if you like to call it. And therefore, we need to be able to prepare ourselves so that we are able to conduct ourselves as a professional supply chain individual appropriately. So I think in that context, I would like to congratulate ASCI in coming with those resources to help the registered practitioner community, and I see that growing more in the future. And some of the benefits that are listed down here, these are just the initial current benefit that you can acquire right now. But I see that this more, as the community grows, I would like to see the more benefits would come along, and the new areas and new realms of opportunities will be visible to the community. So that's all I would say, Monique.
Great. No, that's been a great perspective to hear it straight from registered practitioners. So thank you, Inderjeet. I'll just point out too that I talked before about we're proud of all the CPD points we've been delivering to the community. And the reason for that is to really demonstrate to you that you'll be able to maintain your registration through ASCI, and you'll be able to find those specialist areas of knowledge that you require. So just to give you an example, in 2019-2020, in that financial year, we delivered 95 CPD points to our community. 45 of these points were free for members. And so I think we're really proud to say that, this is not going to be a costly maintenance. It's something that will really help you grow your career. And as Inderjeet pointed out, you'll be able to also teach others. So that's... we're very proud of that. Already this year, we've had over 20 webinars since COVID began, over 1,500 registered attendees to these webinars, and afterwards over 500 downloads of the recorded webinars. So I think that's an achievement in itself. The ASCI National Conference, we're really looking forward to next year with the theme mirroring the United Nations Decade of Action. And so it will really focus on the risks and also the areas of importance for supply chain managers across economical, social, environmental impacts. So look out for that in February, and that is our flagship event, which achieves 20 CPD points for you every year. The ASCI networking events will start up again next year. We're hoping to say site visits and breakfast meetings are a part of that, and our chapters are working hard with Michael Page on getting those up and running again. As Inderjeet mentioned, there are a lot of industry conferences held by other conference organisers that we endorse, and we spend the time on your behalf having a look at the conference programs to ensure that they align with our body of knowledge. And there's a lot of professional and technical resources and white papers available to you, not just the ones from ASCI, but from ASCI partners. Our certification programs will be a part of the continued professional development program. So any certification that you earn through APICS or ISM or others will also award you some CPD points. And of course, the short courses that are currently on our website for Oliver White have CPD points awarded to them as well. And we'll continue to increase our scope of short courses in areas suitable to your streams. And the virtual events, the webinars, as well as plenty of podcasts for you to download as well. At this point, I'll ask you, Gary, if you don't mind unmuting yourself, and let us know what you're looking forward to in the continued professional development program as we really bolster some of the content in the ILS specific stream. What sort of good results can you see develop out of that, if you will?
Looking at all those the conferences and networking certification programs, all good. You know, when you've got 90 odd CPD points each year, that's absolutely great. So, you know, in the ILS stream, we are looking at logistics support analysis and lifecycle costing and reliability, etc. So that can be added into the program. But you know, it's exciting in the ILS stream, you know, to highlight the process to facilitate the support of systems. I should have mentioned before, one of the key aspects of ILS is supportability. We have a mission system. It could be a aircraft, a tank, a ship, but the support system is what as ILSticians look after the main focus. And just a little bit of history, ILS is a technique introduced by the US Army in around the 1960s to ensure that supportability of an equipment item is considered during its design and development. Australian military adopted the technique in the 1970s, and the UK Ministry of Defence in 1993 made it compulsory for procurement of majority of Ministry of Defence equipment. So the content should focus on influence on design, in an ILS perspective, influence on design, design of the support solution at minimum cost, initial support package. Professional development should address ILS management process that facilitates specification, design, development, acquisition, test, fielding, and supportive systems. So when you throw in all those short courses and industry conferences, these can be all truly picked up then. And just one thing, I noticed a question from, is it Weena Zhu, about whether exemption applies to accounting and finance and data science background applicant. The short answer is no. You can come into an ILS stream and think, I'm working with a Defence ILS graduate who has a degree in commerce, majoring in finance and management. So, with training and on-the-job experience, you can get up to the levels required. So there's no exemption in degree, as long as you're keen, enthusiastic, and really want to get into that field.
Thanks, Gary. So I'd like to ask Weena Zhu another question. Can you be more specific with your question as to are you asking about the ILS stream specifically, or are you asking about one of the other streams? Because it could certainly apply for procurement. I'll come back to you because that's certainly something that we are about to address. So bear with me, but if you could be more specific in your Q&A, that would be great. Okay, getting started. Here's the part that's really exciting, because now you can actually do some homework and work out if, in fact, you can collect the evidence that's required for the request for assessment. So in 5 steps, so it's actually only 4 steps for the associate level. Download the provisional assessment of eligibility for registration. So we've created 2 Excel spreadsheets on our website, which allows for you to plot in the work experience, industry certification, and any tertiary education that you have within the stream that you think is most relevant to you. And you can dart between the streams to see which one is best suited to you. And that will allow for you to see whether you meet the points. For associate, it's 150. For practitioner, it's 300. And then the next step, in step 2, your task is then to collate certified copies of your evidence in these areas. So obviously with an industry certification, you will have a certificate. If it's a university degree, you will have transcripts. What we require for work experience is a certificate of employment, and this would come from your HR department or previous employers' HR departments. And so it's a means of approaching those departments to receive a certificate which will include on it your start date and completion date and the roles in which you were employed at that employer. When we say certified copies, we mean that it would need to be verified by a person of importance, be it a Justice of the Peace or anybody who's listed on the Australian government website, which we've hyperlinked on our website for you to go and have a look, because it slightly differs in each state. Then we ask in step 3 that you upload all your certified evidence to your ASCI profile. And you can create one of those for free if you don't currently have one. But if you're a member, you definitely have an ASCI profile. It's your name hyperlinked when you open our website and log in. And step 4 is that there's a group of technical assessors who are going to review your application. So there's a request for assessment form that we ask that you fill in, and that goes to the technical assessors, and within 10 working days they will review your application for registration. If in fact you're going for the practitioner registration level, there will also be a practitioner interview held over the phone, whereby you will have a conversation with one of the technical assessors for them to quiz you about your knowledge in the particular stream for which you're applying. So there's more information about that also on our website. We've tried to be as transparent as possible to make this experience really easy for you. It is an evidence-based process, so be patient with yourselves and with us in terms of collecting the right evidence required for application. But it's all there and you've done the hard work already. So my advice is go for it. You can also use these assessment tools as a career pathway. So in fact, if you find that there are some gaps there, well, that may well be the next step in your career, to take on some more study or to get some more years of experience under your belt. I might open it up to you both, Gary, you and also you, Inderjeet, to just briefly discuss sort of how the registration process was for you, and if there's anything here where you can give some hints or tips to our members.
Yeah, thanks, Monique. So I went through this process about a year ago, and in fact it was 2018, and process was quite straightforward. Effectively, the importance was given on your evidence on the qualification and experience, and then it was followed up by an interview, professional interview, which lasted for about an hour. And I mean, certainly it does touch upon various aspects of your experience and so on. In terms of the first part, that is the your certification and qualifications, I would suggest that it makes it easier that if you think through the relevant qualification and certifications that you wish to submit along with your application, make sure that you do that in a legible, clear copies and which are certified legibly. and so that there is no time wasted in sending the documents to and fro. So that's something which I would suggest that for the new applicants, I would suggest that they do that, and also same thing with your experience evidence as well. It could be a copy of your latest resume, and it could be and your employment confirmation from your employer about your qualifications and your referees. So I think if you're organized and you spend about probably a week or so to organize this documentation and collect all the evidence, and then after that it takes about at least 10 working days, Monique. I think that's what the
Correct.
in terms of the assessment, and then we can then the interview can be arranged thereafter, provided you qualify at the first stage. I'm talking about the interview for the practitioner level, but for the associate level, as long as you provide the right kind of evidence for your acquired qualification and certificate and experience, I think that, and assuming that those qualifications and certificates are assessed to be satisfying the requirement of registered associates, you will get a kind of a communication from the assessors saying that yes, you qualify, and then you are now eligible for registered associates status, which you can use as a postnomial, and also you get recognized for accordingly for serve and start enjoying the benefits of the scheme as a first step. And then later on, when you're ready, you can go into becoming a registered practitioner. You might have maybe a shortfall in certain skills area, then you can contact ASCI. ASCI can point you to the right kind of courses or professional development opportunities through its vast network of educational providers, and also the universities, for example, and including their own board and their own events as well, professional development events as well. So essentially, ASCI is going to be there at every step of the process. So that's something which is very assuring, and that will help you to advance your career in supply chain.
Great. And Gary, how was the registration application process for you?
It was fairly straightforward and fairly easy. I concur what Interjet said. You have to be organised. Make sure you got all your certificates and qualifications all lined up, the relevant ones. I think it's probably better quality than quantity to make sure that you're where you're going. Obviously, I went for the registered practitioner. So once you feel organised, fill the forms in, as an up-to-date CV, resume, etc. And then once you're submitted, you let them know, and the interview, and my interview was done by Peter, and it was fairly painless. It's just the interview is more about enhancing your qualification and experience and asking certain questions down a particular line, and I didn't find them too difficult at all.
Great. Okay, I've got clarification now from Weena's questions. She's asked, she's more interested in supply chain, blockchain technology rather, based supply chain ecosystem. So that, to me, what I would recommend, Weena, is that you go to our website on the registration tab and take a look at the provisional assessment tools that you can download, and have a look at which stream would be best suited to you. I mean, you could, with technology, you can obviously go into any stream, but you want to have a look at which one you best qualify, which evidence that you have that relates mostly to the stream, to the particular stream. Your thoughts, Inderjeet, on that question?
Look, I think that's a right advice to start with, and but if you're looking at the application of the blockchain technology, and then you have the relevant experience in that space, then certainly you could look at the specific criteria for registered practitioner, either in the operations or logistics. Those are the two streams which I would like to sort of put forth as a start, and then you can fine tune it depending upon where you find that because I have not seen your experience, so I can't comment any more than this. But if you look at your experience and then your where you want to grow your career in, whether it is in the registered logistics space or the operations space, I think in both cases the application of blockchain is becoming more and more prevalent, and I think I would like to see more and more applications in that space. So with someone like yourself who has got some experience in this technology, I think it will be a great addition to the community as a whole. Certainly. So start with, look at what the requirements are, download the self-assessment form and go through that process, see where you, how many points you score, and then by all means speak with Monique or Peter Nagel, and in terms of any technical questions that you may have on and further advice. So I think it's great, and it's a great question as well. You mentioned in your previous question, I think you have some data science background as well, or coming from the accounting and finance background. And if you want to see that that is a dominant part of your experience, but then you might also want to consider that, and also if you have a right experience in let's say, you have applied these data science or the financial or commercial experience in procurement decision making, then certainly you might want to consider procurement as well. Now, remember the distinction I made was blockchain versus your other experience. So I think you have a bit of a choice there. And in procurement, more and more professionals decision making is happening based on the data and the evidence, and making sure that we have a accurate spend analytics and also monitoring of the quantitative risks and so on. That's where your background in data science will be helpful as well. So happy to chat further if required. So.
Thank you, Inderjeet. That's great. And it's important to point out too, as we get close to the close time of this webinar, that after every webinar, every Wednesday, we'll be running a live Q&A. So if you wanted to stick back after each webinar and you've got time, feel free to do that, and you can ask questions then. Alternatively, on the registration tab on our website, there is a frequently asked questions page. We've tried to preempt everything that you would potentially ask and answered it and addressed it quite thoroughly in that section. So please take a moment to visit that page, because that could indeed answer all your questions. At this point, I'd like to thank Gary and Inderjeet for joining us today. This is the sort of advocacy work that practitioners, can enjoy, but also I hope that you've got something out of today, both of you, and I'm sure that the community are very happy to have had your opinions on today's webinar. So thank you both. And if everybody could raise their hands for Inderjeet and Gary and thank them for today's session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to let you know that we have 2 webinars coming up, which the registration link is available at the start of the chat box. Firstly, a really interesting one around the use of the SCORE framework with 2 interesting experts, one from a technology standpoint and the other from a SCORE instructor standpoint. So if indeed you're interested in skilling yourself up in SCORE and becoming a SCORE professional, that's a great place for you to explore. And the week after, we're going to take a look at cognitive control towers with 3 experts from Deloitte. Deloitte's been working quite hard with their clients on control towers and in the area of visibility. So particularly transforming with Industry 4.0. So that will be a great proof point for all of you in terms of looking at ways and trends in control towers. So thank you for joining us. As I mentioned to you, I will stay on for a bit longer if anyone wants to stay back for a live Q&A. So thank you for joining today and have a great rest of your week. Okay, I have 2 raised hands here, so I'm going to unmute you. If you'd like to chat, please let us know. Aaron, I've allowed you to speak if you've got a question. Aaron Jessup. Just raise your hand, Aaron, if you'd like to have a chat. Let's see.
Yeah, haven't got any question on that one.
No.
Okay.
There we go. Kapil has asked to raise. Okay, Kapil, hear us?
Hi everybody.
Hello,
First of all,
Kapil.
I'd like to thank everybody to have shared this information with us. And as suggested by you, Monique and Indrajit, I've been going through the document page of ASCI, and although I have, by filling up the form, I think I have met the requirement of 150 points. But having said that, it's asking for a member number. Although I'm new to Australia, do I need to take the membership as you suggested to be registered associate?
No, you can be a non-member. So Kapil, please go ahead with your application. There will be a membership fee upon your successful application of $275.
Sure.
But that is okay. The reason for the membership number is just so we can work out whether you have an ASCI profile, and so we can find it easily. So really it's merely an administrative requirement rather than an eligibility requirement. Soon enough, this will be available to the whole supply chain community right across Australia, that 25,000 people that we were talking about. But to begin with, we've started with our ASCI members because it doesn't cost them anything to upgrade to registration. But for you, if you're not an ASCI member and you haven't already paid the $275 for membership, then it will incur a fee for you.
Okay. Once I get certified, or once my
Yes,
all the documents.
that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, next question was that if your certification or qualifications are not listed above, like I have done postgraduate diploma in business administration, apart from doing Bachelor of Engineering Mechanical. So will this count by any ways?
So can I answer that?
Please go ahead, Indrajit.
So if the qualification is not listed there is an option to list down that qualification.
Absolutely.
And please again get it certified, and also include the transcript as well, so that the technical assessors would know that what subjects or what specialization that you have done in acquiring your qualification. So if you have done a Masters of Business Administration, then there would be some modules which you might have done for the supply chain, procurement, and so on, or finance. So that would help in completing that process. So don't get worried if a qualification is not listed. It is so submit what you think you should submit, and then technical assessor will come back to you about the acknowledgement of a particular qualification that is not listed.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Great. Raise your hand if you have a question. All right, there's no other questions. So I think we'll call it. And certainly we are available via inquiries@asci.org.au. Please visit the registration tab on the website, www.asci.org.au, asci.org.au/registration. And I think we've provided plenty of information there. Oh, Aaron does have a question. Just looking through the website, and there does not appear to be a definition of each line of professionalism. There is, Aaron, in the resources tab on the website, where you'll see the ASCI supply chain management body of knowledge document, easily downloadable from that section. That has in it all the definitions and terminology. So yeah, you're welcome.
That's great.
Okay, thank you, Indrajit. Thank you, Gary, and we'll be in touch soon.
Thank you.
I'll end the webinar now.
Thanks, Gary. We'll be in touch.
No worries.